Sorry, too busy watching. Hi, I'm Chris Spade. I'm based at the ECA over in Edinburgh, that other thing that we don't talk about here. I lead a research centre, and we've been invested in understanding the criticalities of technology, what it does for, what it does against. And 4 terms I want you to think about as I unpack something light, I hope, and then something rather dark, is what we begin to mean about what we want to do when we talk about empowerment. Whether we move from concepts of automatic, through automation, through concepts of autonomous, and then in the end to autonomy. Because actually what we do when they talk about autonomy is forms of you being independent or things being independent. And a grubby way, a really grubby way that we do that in society, it gives things money. If you give someone money, you empower it or you give it a level autonomy. We'll work out whether it's right or wrong. And we've been doing that to various objects, from coffee cups through to a whole bunch of things. But critically, these are questions about whether you and I want to be connected to centralized systems or decentralized systems. This is the national grid, and every night, once everyone's gone home and they've opened up all their kettles, people in the national grid will have to open the floodgates to balance the energy grid. Now that's centralized, and you want to push buttons to do that. What we've done as designers is develop 3 hairdryers that say, hang on, are humans capable of doing it themselves? Or do you want autonomy just to let that person on the national grid to do it? Who do you want to take responsibility? Now, GigBliss Plus is the first hairdryer. These are all prototypes developed with the EU Policy Lab. And this one actually has buttons that allows you to buy energy and trade it. So students might be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You might buy it incredibly cheap and sell it to people at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. And you will not pay for the energy that's using your hairdryer. So in this instance, you can just see the switch, and he's simply, in the context of the gig economy or in crypto, people are starting to trade and take responsibility for those balancing acts. Do you want to do that? That's autonomy. Now, in the middle of that, we also developed a second hairdryer, which is balance, which is about saying, well, no, let's take some autonomy away from the humans and give it to the hairdryer. So the second hairdryer, you press the button, and the onboard robot says, all right, you want some hair dried. I'm going to go off, and according to your values, which might be ecological, I'm going to search the grid and buy you energy at an appropriate price with your ecological values, and then I'm going to tell you when you can turn it on. And it might take 2 minutes. It might take 15 seconds. But you have to wait for what you want. Do you want that? That's taking away power from you. But you have a lot of power. Not many people on the planet get to press buttons and have always lighting. The third one, we say, humans, you can't do it. So we've given the robot complete control. So in this instance, the GigBliss Auto will simply search the internet, search the energy grids, buy the energy, and turn on when it wants. There's no button. We're taking buttons away from you. Now, the challenge is that Sean in the video is going to have to wait. And he's really going to have to wait. And are you prepared to wait if the values of the planet are at stake? Or are you going to turn on your iPhone, turn on the switch, and get what you want when you want? Because shit's going down. You can't live pressing buttons, getting what you want all the time. And we've rehearsed this. We've rehearsed this through the millennium when the apocalyptic movies forced us to think about how we understand the visions of what it might be like the day after tomorrow in 2012, through Armageddon, through A Deep Impact. Now, Franklin Ginn, who's an academic who talks about apocalyptic movies, is very clear that actually these are fantastic ways of understanding what this near future's like, but he's also very clear that you're just acting like spectators. You're not. We are not spectators of apocalyptic films. We are participants in their ecology. Every time you turn the DVD player on to watch it or steal it from torrents or Pirate Bay, you exacerbate this cause. You press the buttons, folks. Now, his critique is that all of these movies seem to have a get-out clause. All of them, whether it's Bruce Willis with his nuclear missile, whether it's Morgan Freeman in his cave under the mountain, there seems to be a get-out clause. There's no fucking get-out clause. Get over it. So And there's just a 40-second conceit here, because I'll read this out, because the last movie is apocalyptic, truly. On January the 3rd, 1889, in the throes of a manic episode, Friedrich Nietzsche left his lodgings in Turin, walked a short distance across a nearby square, and then halted. Seeing a horse being flogged by its owner, he threw himself toward the animal, embraced it. Breaking into tears, he slumped to the floor. He was almost arrested for disturbing the peace, but was rescued by his landlord and was taken back home and to bed. The remaining 11 years of his life was spent under care and under the spell of profound madness. And then he died. Nietzsche didn't contribute any more to the questions of why we're doing this thing called existence. And out of that, there's an Italian filmmaker called Bellatar. Sorry, it's not Italian, it's a Belgian. But he built a film called The Turin Horse, which evokes Nietzsche's challenge of what it is to see animals and the planet abused to the extent where they don't want to play anymore. So in this fantastically dark apocalyptic film, objects start saying no. Things start saying to the humans, we're not complying. The horse won't go into town. The well won't give you water. And in the final scene, which is incredibly dark and speaks absolutely of all these things you guys want to push buttons to activate, the oil in the lamp just refuses to light. It will not do it anymore. Things are not going to be compliant in this future space. So I'm just going to try something in front of you, because I bought some matches. I went to the shop, got some matches, and I thought I would just try and light them. And we'll find out